Oh, hey. Welcome to part two. This is part two. So, I was going to do a previously on sort of thing for this video, but I feel like it would just be pointless. Just go back and watch part one if you haven't already seen it. Apparently, a lot of you haven't. It's fine. You know what? It's fine. It's fine. Just go watch it. But just in case you haven't watched part one, here are the important things. And without further ado, here is
Part 2.
So, if you haven't heard, on February 25th, a group of woke, libtard Antifa members stormed the Hasbro headquarters and castrated Mr. Potato Head. And then they hacked into his Instagram account and, I'm sorry, they put they, them pronouns in his bio. And then, drunk off their power and rage, the Antifa members stormed Dr. Seuss Enterprises. I'm not sure if that's a physical place, but they went there and they burned all of his books in a bonfire, and then they shot Cat in the Hat in the head for good measure, effectively canceling Dr. Seuss and therefore, by extension, all children's books. Obviously, that was a bit of an embellishment of the story, but what actually happened was Hasbro decided to drop the Mr. from the Mr. Potato Head brand name, and Dr. Seuss's estate decided to stop publishing 6 of his books that no one had really heard of anyway. But, as per usual, a bunch of Tucker Carlson types sensationalized the situation, saying that cancel culture is coming for our children, and even the toy companies are forcing their LGBTQ plus propaganda on them. In actuality, what happened was the Potato Head brand just dropped the Mr. because, Misters and Misses are equal now, and really the only two possibilities for why someone would be outraged by this is they either think that this is the mainstream's way of decaying gender norms and forcing all of our kids to be gender fluid, or they just think that diversity and inclusivity is inherently bad. And I'm sorry if you think that I'm making a false dichotomy here and you're saying to yourself, well, I don't have a problem with any of that stuff, I just think it's performative. And to be fair, yeah, is it performative? Is it a gesture that is just ultimately to maximize their profit in a flawed capitalist structure? The Monopoly man only consented to 2 cheek slaps. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that you can basically make the argument that something is performative about literally anything ever, but that doesn't make that thing bad. And I'd say it's a similar case with the Dr. Seuss stuff. The books that were pulled from publishing were pulled by his estate, so that means that whoever runs his estate said, hey, maybe these racist-ass depictions of minorities in Dr. Seuss's old books hold no value in modern society, and maybe they should never have in the first place. Maybe these depictions, while seemingly harmless, actually perpetuated and continue to perpetuate racial stereotypes that we should all agree are bad. Even if you want to look at it from the perspective that everything is performative, yeah, these were his less popular books anyway, and they probably just thought, hey, these aren't making us any money, they're getting backlash anyway. May as well make a good PR stunt out of it and pull them from the shelves. So even if you look at it that way, though, it doesn't make the performative action itself bad. So let's review. We have arguably the biggest media company in history firing someone not because of her political beliefs, but because she used her platform to perpetuate harmful and offensive content. Then we have a company trying to rebrand their name to be more inclusive while not changing anything about their actual line of products. Finally, we have a family of an author deciding to no longer profit off of his more problematic books because they don't represent their values, or at least what they want the public to think their values are. Here we have 3 examples of things being presented as cancel culture just from this year that seemingly have no correlation, and I think part of the reason that they're being presented that way is because on one side you have news sites saying, look, here's this woke cancel culture here to destroy us all, and then on the other side you have, hey, this company did this thing, make your own conclusion about it, let it confirm whatever bias you want. For example, we all know that people like Tucker Carlson, Ben Shapiro, and Steven Crowder are going to take this shit and run with it. They're pulling out all the hits. They even made an album. It's called Now That's What I Call Grifting. The track list includes such hits as The Left is Coming to Destroy Your Family Values, Socialists Are the Real Fascists, Hitler Was a Liberal, actually, Modern Day Book Burning. And then there's this one song that just sounds like Ben Shapiro crying into Steven Crowder's chest for 5 minutes. It's titled Cardi B. This joke went on a little long. I'll admit that. On the other side of things, we have publications like Jerry News. Obviously not as big of a news outlet as something like CNN, but they do have 1.2 million Instagram followers, so I think it's safe to say a good deal of people get their news from them. They claim only to share objective news stories, and for the most part it seems like they do that, but when they shared the story about the Potato Head rebranding, they just shared this. This makes it actually seem like they are discontinuing gender-specific Potato Head products, which, like, first of all, who cares, it's a potato, but also that's objectively not the case. If a conservative reads this, they're gonna think, I knew it! The left has done it again! Alex Jones and God Emperor Trump were right. The left isn't just trying to turn your frogs gay, they're turning your potatoes gay.
We should institute a police state.
And then, I can't help but think that there's probably some liberals or moderates out there that read this and say, wow, maybe the left has gone too far. Maybe I'm on the wrong side of history. Maybe Obama really was from Kenya.
We should build a border wall.
There's a difference between being fair and balanced in reporting and just omitting objective information so that people can use that to confirm their own biases. When you do that, you're basically giving conservative media outlets the opportunity to create their own reality. They already know that their audience is afraid of cancel culture coming for people's voices and taking away their freedoms. So they have the opportunity now to call whatever they want cancel culture without any opposition. This may not feel too important because all of these examples that I've given have been from pop culture, but the same thing applies to people like the former president of the United States getting banned off of social media. Not because the people who run those social media apps are biased, but because they do have TOSs that everyone has to abide by that he has violated for years, and frankly, he should have been banned a long time ago. It also applies to government representatives wearing masks that say censored on them, speaking into a microphone in the Capitol building, being broadcasted on national television after being elected by human beings. The most frustrating thing to me with these examples of cancel culture is that they always get framed as an attack on free speech. You know, if it could happen to them, it could happen to you. Conservatives eat that shit up, but it has nothing to do with free speech. If there's anything we can take away from the attack on the Capitol building on January 6th or the surge in anti-Asian hate crimes recently, it's that words and fear-mongering rhetoric have real-world consequences. In those cases, I think that certain people should be held criminally accountable. But in the case of Gina Carano, no one is saying that criminal charges should be put against her for being conservative. But they are criticizing her because she continues to share offensive and harmful misinformation. There's a quote that I've seen a lot recently from Winston Churchill in regards to free speech saying, some people's idea of it is that they are free to say whatever they like, but if anyone says anything back, that is an outrage. You could frame this how conservatives have been, saying that, see, this is just the libtards trying to limit my free speech because they don't like what I'm saying. But in actuality, just as much as you're allowed to think or believe whatever you want, if you say it publicly, people are just as entitled to criticize you for it publicly if they think it's wrong. The problem is that these conservative free speech talking points tend to be ones that are not rooted in empirical evidence, more conspiratorial, and in extreme cases, they make people do stuff like this. So if you take anything from this video, hopefully it's that when you see instances of cancel culture, you should not just immediately make the conclusion, it's George Orwell 1968, brother. Just, I don't want to say do your own research because that kind of gets associated with, but learn the whole story and not from Facebook or 4chan or 8chan or any number of the chans. We shouldn't be focusing on how someone's liberties are being taken just for speaking their mind, but we should actually look at the situation for what it is and try and understand why what they're saying is harmful. The answer may surprise you. All right, well, that was part 2. It took a lot longer than I was anticipating, and the video was already ranty in the first place. But I really hope you enjoyed it. If there's anything I learned from this experience, it's that, number one, I need a bigger hard drive. And number 2, it's really hard for me to make videos about current events and upload them in a timely manner. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And hey, if you did really enjoy it, if you genuinely enjoyed it, please just go tell a friend, you know? That's one of the best things you can do for this channel is tell a friend, hey, this CamHug guy, his mustache, it's It's just silly. Go and watch them. Woo! Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And hopefully, sooner rather than later, I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. I drank too much while filming this outro.
This is good. This is good stuff.